So I started out of my parents' basement in 2013. I got my first paycheck from my father. It was $815, and I was living in their basement. And I go, Dad, why the hell did I go to college if I was going to come out and, make this much money? And he goes, you'll figure it out. And he shut the door. So that night I went downstairs and ordered, actually sitting above me, my first LLC off LegalZoom, and told my dad's first property manager that I was going to start cleaning the common areas the next month.
Welcome to Beyond Clean with Ace. In the world of commercial cleaning, whether you're new to the industry or a seasoned professional, you know we're all more than just toilets, windows, and floors. We're just like everyone else with diverse interests in everything. Now in Season 9, tens of thousands have discovered engaging and thoughtful knowledge that's truly game-changing at Beyond Clean with Ace. Whether you're a facility manager, a frontline staff member, or a building services contractor, we're here to help you grow personally and professionally. So hit that subscribe button and share with others. We're all about enhancing lives in healthy, positive, and proactive ways. So join me, Dave Thompson, Director of the Academy of Cleaning Excellence, your host at Beyond Clean with Ace.
Well, hello, everyone. You are listening to another episode of Beyond Clean with Ace. We are now in Season 9, halfway through the year as we record this. I want to first say thank you to all of you people that are subscribing, listening, and downloading. Between the two channels we put all of our podcasts out on, we're over we're getting close to 45,000 downloads in the last 9 years. We truly appreciate that. It's through your efforts of sharing, subscribing, and downloading that we do all of this. And you know what? I travel all over the country through this internet thing they call, technology. Oh, gosh, I'll tell you, sometimes I believe it's good, and sometimes I don't know what to do with it. Anyway, I'm going to travel a little bit outside of my zone right here. We'll find out where these guys are from. They're actually still in the cleaning business, I think. So we will talk about cleaning today, and who knows what else we'll talk about. I'm sure it'll be something. Anyway, let me see if I can get these guys on, hit a couple of buttons, and gee, there's a couple of faces. Do we have sound?
Yes, we got sound. Check, check.
Yep.
Okay, gentlemen, people don't come on here to listen to me. They come on to listen to you. So I'm going to kind of put myself in the background here a little bit, hit a few little buttons here. Charlie, let's start with you. I think this is your company. You started this. Tell people who you are, what you do, and what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, sure. My name is Charlie Ramshaw, owner of RamClean. We operate in 5 states, 375 employees, approaching 15 million in revenue. Excited to be here. Thanks, Dave, for the opportunity. Appreciate it. The cleaning industry has been a very interesting business to scale and to grow. But wouldn't trade it for the world, and happy to be here.
So what did you do before cleaning?
I was in college. So I started out of my parents' basement in 2013. I got my first paycheck from my father. It was $815, and I was living in their basement. And I go, Dad, why the hell did I go to college if I was going to come out and, make this much money? And he goes, you'll figure it out. And he shut the door. So that night I went downstairs and ordered, actually sitting above me, my first LLC off LegalZoom, and told my dad's first property manager that I was going to start cleaning the common areas the next month. And my last name is Ramshaw, so I called up my graphic designer buddy from college, and I said, hey, I need a logo, and we call it RamClean, and the rest is history. So we really went all in about 2018. I only had about 4 employees to that point, and then from 18 to today, we're up to 375 in 5 states, and rapidly growing and building on, continuing to stack brick by brick.
So now I'm thinking about this before we bring on Rob. I'm thinking, wait a minute here. You just started this just before the COVID era.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And you've still grown from the basement to 50 million?
No, we're going to be at 15, 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, 15 million in, 7-8 years, and COVID era too.
Yeah. COVID was great. I lost 50% of my company in 2 days, Every time
It was great. Yeah, I like that.
every time I picked up the phone, they canceled it because they just went in and cut expenses, and then they called me back like 2 weeks later or a week later, depending on what manufacturing or whatever. Hey, actually, we need you back, and can you bring more people? I was like, so then we ended up growing that year 37% year over year, which it was a wild one, and luckily we were pretty small at the time and nimble, but yeah, we survived and made it out, and really it was a great time to come in and be flexible, especially how we've grown through the business with SEO and everything else, because I think it really heightened where people actually focused on cleaning and cared a lot more about what the image of their facility was, and gave us a lot of opportunities to grow. And presented other opportunities. We did a lot of staffing at the time too, where a lot of folks in the hospitality industry, especially, were just putting signs out and thinking they were going to get folks, and they were gone. And so we did a lot of staffing at that point too, and now we just really focus on the cleaning aspect. And yeah, it's been a long journey. It's been good, but that's why I got a lot of gray hairs, but it's all good.
Rob, at least he's got hair to talk about, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't know how easy and nice it is to keep a bald head clean.
Yeah, just think of all that stuff that we don't have to buy, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so
it's been a long time.
So Rob, tell us, how did you come into this, and did you have to go through all of this with Charlie?
Only the fun parts. I wasn't there early on. I actually had a marketing agency for the last, really since like the late 90s. And, his family business was one of my clients. And so he called me in 2018, wanted to grow. So I started working with him as just an agency doing, hey, here's some ways to generate leads. As Charlie has said, it's been primarily website, SEO, PPC ads, things of that nature. What can we do to generate leads, email? And so I was doing that really on a part-time business or basis. And then Charlie wanted to expand. So we went to Cincinnati, added more cities, started doing more and more and more. And I think it was right around the COVID era where we just, once we got through that and we're really building, I came on full time, and then from there our revenue was up high enough to be able to have someone full time. And even nowadays, there's not a lot of cleaning companies under 10 million that have full time marketing people, but the way we have it set up, it works well because I can focus on generating leads and managing the CRM, and Charlie's awesome at selling. We have a great sales team and a great operations team. So everybody's in their zone, just really performing well.
So you're still doing what you were doing before, but you just only work for Charlie and RamClean now.
Right. Yeah. So I just came on full time. It was the right time for me. I had been working with a lot of small companies for a lot of years, and then all of a sudden I had the opportunity to really try to work, specifically for one company, and we were having success. So I had 3 years of consistent success. So I knew we would be more successful. All the pieces were in place. So like when you're working in marketing, like you're generating leads and trying to develop brand awareness, and you need other people to do the job. You need the company to be able to fund marketing. You need the operations people to run it. You need someone really good at selling. And you need to do all these things to have a successful business. So sometimes
hold a minute. Wait a minute. Hold it. All at the same time?
Yep.
It's like running a supercomputer.
Yeah, guys, this is where you lose a lot of people, right? I mean, it's like when you went from 0 to 15, where along that journey did you feel like, wait a minute, Charlie, this is way too much?
I'm just too stupid, and I just keep going, right? I just, you know what I mean? I always say behind me, you said no risk, no story. So that's why all my walls are wood or block glass. I just run 110 miles into it and then turn around and run the other way. So, yeah, when you're we're not scaling tech, we're not scaling a widget. When you're scaling human beings, it presents a ton of challenges. And it's just one of those things as me as a leader, as I've been growing, you just really have to, the business is easy. It's dealing with all the personalities and everything that come with it. So I've definitely had to learn a lot of patience over the years because I'm not a very patient person, and being very empathetic and understanding, where they're coming from and what's going on and everybody's own individual life. And, but yeah, I think that's what's molded me into a better leader. And it's all for the right reasons.
Rob, I got to ask a question though. AI is going to take you and put you out of a job, and Charlie's not going to need you anymore.
Well, that's the one thing about my job. If I'm not growing, then I really don't have a job. But I have enough confidence in myself that's not a problem. But we touched on something before, which is, what does it take to actually be successful? And a lot of people just want to do, like, maybe they just want to run a small amount of ads, or maybe, and they don't work on their brand, or they don't work on sales, or they don't work on their website. And you just get kind of okay results. And so you never take the next step. Like, we try to get good everywhere. Like, we want to be more profitable in our operations. We want to hire better people. I mean, hiring has been a huge, it's a struggle for everybody, but like, it's something we put emphasis on. You want to be able to, so we need people to sell. I've done some work for other companies before, and I could get them leads, but they couldn't sell them. And if you're not selling the leads, you're having a hard time paying for the marketing cost. So with us here at RamClean, we really focus on doing everything well and try to get good at everything. We're never going to be perfect, but as Charlie said, we take risks. We try to figure out. We're very data and tech driven to try to determine, what does it take what can we do to get more business? What's a better way to run it? What type of people do we need? And that's what works.
Well, when you say that, gentlemen, I hear both of you talking about you've got to sell what your business can do. It's not just finding leads, as you said, Rob. It's not just doing the marketing. You have to sell that. But then again, we have to know what our customers are expecting.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
How do you find that, Charles? I mean, you went from nothing in the basement there. Somewhere along the way, you did some research or something?
Trial by fire.
Now, Rob, how did you do that with trial?
Yeah, I honestly think that one of the best things that where I started as my own employee, and just fascinated by how can you make things more efficient? What kind of equipment can you add? And obviously, when you go into these larger accounts that we're getting nowadays, the biggest thing is, and put a strong emphasis on it, is what does our partnership look like? What exactly do you need from us, and what we can provide for you, and what does that look like to have a long-standing partnership? I'm not in for transactional business. I'm in for partnerships. And so one of the things when you go out and sell, we're not selling cleaning, we're selling confidence. So to being able to expose them to different things that, most folks, they just go in and do a scripted scope of work and proposal. And, I think really our creative niche when we get inside the facility to really understand the customer's needs and wants, and mirror those with the scope, and then obviously good, better, best pricing options really leads to our success story. So it's been great.
Rob, you going to add something to that before I go on?
No, I think that's spot on.
Yeah, no, something I wanted to do, and you led me right into this, Charlie, is I saw this information on CleanLink today, and this is talking about restrooms.
Yep.
And a number of things in that you just said here. Let me see if I can scroll down to this here. Exactly how they say this here is long-term data provides these spaces can boost satisfaction, strengthen loyalty, and drive repeated visits, turning restrooms into both a point of pride and a performance asset. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think really, what first comes to mind is Buc-ee's, right? If you think of Buc-ee's gas station, where they highlight, one of their biggest promotions is their restrooms and how clean they are and how much they take pride in those.
Absolutely.
And I think, and it goes back to, especially for us when we have a lot of public spaces and a lot of, large facilities where they care about the customer experience. Not only the first things when they walk in the lobby and everything else, but the restrooms, that people visit and they, they're like, oh, do I want to go back there or not? And obviously you look from the research, schools and gas stations, all that are substantially low. And I think, like we talked about, there's really no excuse for that anymore. I don't know if it's they don't have the budget, they don't care or whatever, but look at how much, a little tweak and what they can do on a daily basis to improve that customer experience overall, where you take a bad review and turn it into a good review. And really, like you said, circle all the way back to Buc-ee's. You take a 75,000 square foot gas station and they're sitting there highlighting, how unbelievable they set up their restrooms and how much they take pride in that. And I think it's a meaningful observation that continues to pay dividends in our industry on a daily basis.
Rob?
Yeah, I think to add on to what Charlie's saying is we're solving problems, and I think when they come in with the sales team, you're listening and trying to understand where their problems are, because as Charlie said, we focus on larger recurring business more so than other like one-off business. So, we're going in there and we hear the same stories about how they've struggled. Oftentimes they have a big facility and they're trying to get it clean for a low amount. They've used a lot of, we're a W-2 company and can control our quality. So we can.
So hang on just a minute, Rob. To those people that are listening and watching, what does W-2 company mean to you so that they understand that?
Yeah. So instead of hiring subcontractors to do the cleaning, we actually just hire our own direct employees. So doing that is usually a good selling point, because it's not that, like, we know tons of great cleaning companies that use subcontractors, but
right.
a lot of clients have had issues in the past with dealing with companies that they didn't realize they hired someone, then a sub comes in. Sometimes they're not even wearing the same uniform and things. You hear about these stories all the time. When we hear that, we know that we can sell against it. And
so back to what Charlie said before, that's more a sustainable program, correct?
Right. Like we have a much higher, over average, our retention rate is higher, even for a company that's only been, really in heavy growth the last 6-7 years. We've done a lot of analytics on it, and we keep our customers. If we have customers that need a solution and they're a partner, we tend to keep them a long time. And they're usually the bigger ones, of course. And so we're trying to, and that has a huge impact on your ROI. Because if you're just getting customers real quick, and then maybe you're trying to win on price, then all of a sudden, then they're just going to find someone else that wants to do it cheaper, and they're not sticking with you. And then you're not getting the investment back for what you're spending in marketing.
So the gentleman, what you guys are saying is the W-2 employee is a marketing value to your client.
Yes. Yep.
I saw that on your website, and I'm glad you brought that out, Rob, because I want people to understand that, because we put up things on our website, and sometimes we don't explain what that means. So somebody that's never seen that before is understanding, and there is a differentiation between that and, like you said, a large amount of cleaning services out there.
Yeah, especially we know who we've spent a lot of time thinking about who our perfect customer is. and what they're looking for. So when they come to our website, we want those answers. And we're good in some areas, like we're really good in industrial, really good with schools. So we have some very specific forms of marketing. We do case studies, things like that, to try to make sure we're explaining that to the customer.
Sorry, guys, I got something going on here. I'm not sure what it is.
Maybe one of those other web pages is.
It's all your LinkedIn notifications.
I guess it was. I'm sorry about that.
I know LinkedIn pretty good. I didn't know they could send you music.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I saw a bell come up here, and hey, it took over the program, folks. For those of you that are still with us and going through our little technical problem there, thank you for being here, watching, or if you're listening on one of the platforms. We're now up on 5 different audio channels out there, so wherever you get your podcast from. I did want to go to this because this is your website, and this is your front page. This is it, gentlemen. I want to tell you one thing. What I like here, and I think this goes back to your marketing and your message. This is not a stock photo.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, if we can, I'm not saying that there aren't stock photos. I don't think there's very many, but if you can, you want your own photos. I mean, right. I'll be honest, our photos are a massive part of what we do. All of the stuff that our supervisors send us photos every night. That allows us to get an idea of what they're doing, and then that allows us to have fresh photos that we're constantly uploading. They're useful. I mean, we have, I think, over 1,000 on this website. We have hundreds and hundreds in our Google My Business profiles and all the other like citation type sites, and all of that's really important for people in this, as well as social media, of course, to really understand who you are and what you're all about. It's because it's not just to get the lead. Everybody's researching you. Like, we talk to our customers a lot. They are looking at your reviews. They are looking at your people. They are looking at, oh, look at that bald guy. That looks so good there. Yeah, they're looking at your website, your case study, your marketing materials, all this stuff. So we're trying to we want to like come across as very focused and show our people. We're proud of our people too, so we want to show them.
Yeah, and folks, if you're listening, what I'm doing as the gentlemen are talking, I'm going through their website and showing you some of this, because, gentlemen, I really like to focus on the fact that these are actual photos of things. I am very big in not using stock photos, and we just saw LinkedIn come up here a minute ago. The thing here is that I believe that we need to show people the real thing. Now, AI, and as we were talking, Rob, AI is one of these things that we all use, but we should not use it to run everything, because words do mean something, pictures do mean something, or we shouldn't be using them. That's my viewpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I could get into that. So Charlie's really good at telling the brand story. And so, he has an idea, for example, on some sort of topic that people are interested in. And if he wants to expand on that idea, you might use social media, or even or AI to help generate something that sounds good. And it's awesome for, if you're not a particularly good writer, to just write something, a bit of an idea, then try to get ideas, an idea generator. But when we do that, those are, as an owner, those are really compelling pieces of material. They get a lot of engagement. We try to tell some sort of story about what we're doing and why, but when the company owner's doing that, it gets the best results. And that's really what the clients want to know. Who's going to be working for me? What are they all about? I mean, we live in this reality TV world because everybody's like interested in other businesses and other things that people are doing. And like, this is your way of showing it off on social media, because your clients, before they're going to start spending thousands of dollars a month, they're going to be looking at what you're doing.
Charlie, somewhere along this line in your journey, you had to realize that all of this was very viable when you were working with Rob before. Why did you choose to bring him in and not just keep hiring him in that? I'm just curious.
Yeah. So, one, I'm selfish, and we just had a really good relationship, and so I just kept working the angle of him just, coming on board and believing what my goals and my visions were here, and he bought in, and I'm very thankful that he did.
You didn't want to share?
Nope. No, I didn't want to share. Nope. And and I think, Rob and I actually recently just launched a roofing company together, and I think we'll go on and own multiple businesses together and continue to do, the yin and the yang, where he can do the leads and we'll go and sell them and grow businesses together. And that's obviously my give back to him. And yeah, it's just been an awesome partnership and a friendship from day one. And actually, the funny story is, the first time I ever talked to Rob on the phone, we got to going, and an hour and 42 minutes later, I actually had missed a sales appointment I was supposed to go to. Had to send the ladies a bouquet of cookies by design to say I apologize. But I knew ever since then it was one of those deals where I knew we'd hit it off for a long time to come, and it was just different, right? A lot of times you get in the space and you get inundated with marketing emails and everything else, so. To have somebody in your back pocket that you trust and you love, and that you can build something special together, that you take that at bat. When I had no business hiring a CMO, but again, no risk, no story, and here we are.
4 states.
5 states.
5 states. Sorry, excuse me.
You're okay.
That presents challenges of its own that some people don't experience and don't know about.
Sure. Yeah. I think the big thing is nowadays is, one, you got to have good people, but 2, it's awesome to have technology, right? So, to have apps and understand we got timestamp photos and other things that, to follow the SOPs where the cleaners are taking pictures of their routes throughout their cleaning schedule. And it really helps from the hierarchy of the operation to see and monitor and make sure people are on site and doing what they're supposed to. And, yeah, it's definitely different today than the days of the the white spiral notebook in the closet where people got to write back and forth, and you hope they're there, right? So
yeah, we don't have the check. We don't have the little check list on the back of the restroom door anymore. That's gone.
Yep, sure is. So everybody wants real time data, and it's really and leaning into that has really helped in the scaling of the business. I don't think you'd be able to scale this fast like we have if it was the ways of in the early 80s or 70s and beyond. So, but yeah, it's been an awesome learning experience and growth trajectory. And I think really the best is yet to come. I think the hardest was to get to 15 million, and I think getting to 15 to 50 will be easier. And I think getting from 50 to wherever we want to go will be even easier. So I'm thinking, as you gentlemen are talking,
understanding and having a vision is one thing. Marketing is another. You've got ops managers that work in the 5 states. How do you? Keeping the finger or the hand on the pulse from the C-suite of what is actually happening in the field still presents a weekly challenge. I'm thinking
an hourly challenge or by the minute challenge. I would say. Yeah, absolutely. I think anytime you're dealing with humans, until Elon Musk can get his robots out there and clean everything like everyone's saying it's going to be here, is always going to present challenges, right? Car wrecks, people getting sick, people. I've heard everything under the
Oh yeah,
and it is what it is, right? I think that's why you just. In our model, right, in our W-2 model, that's why we have so many floaters and area supervisors and everything else to help cover those shifts. And If not, like you always tell our customers and our partners that, hey, you know what? If we're wrong, if we make a mistake, we're going to own it, and we're going to let you know that. And I think that's just one of the things what they appreciate. And it's just, no one's ever going to be perfect, especially in dealing with humans. And you just keep going.
I was talking with Blake earlier last year, I believe it was, maybe in the year before, on a podcast, and we were talking about, the age-old thing of employee turnover, and our industry is plagued by one of the highest numbers, the largest amount of turnover, between 300% and 400% is not uncommon. I know it's difficult to peg, and he had some visions of that from both sides, and I didn't know we were going to be talking so much about this, but having W-2 versus, does this change this dramatically? I mean, or we're not talking these kind of numbers for you guys, I'm imagining.
No, you still have high turnover, especially with, the different states that we're in, and people keep pushing the minimum wage up and everything else, and you're sitting there trying to compete.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely think as much as we can control it, they know what they're getting into it, right? Where they don't get micromanaged as much, right? You can't be, one area supervisor can't be over 25 accounts every single night. Obviously, they're there if you need help, but a lot of people just like to put on their headphones and do their routine and go about their business, and that suits well for that personality. And those are really those are the folks you try to attract and keep and give them the right tools and equipment and support. Don't mess their paycheck up, and everything's good.
So, how much do you think is in your 300 and some people are part-time versus full?
We really try to be, I would say 90% full-time.
Really?
Yeah.
We used to be like probably closer to 50-50 or maybe 60-40, but yeah, we're focusing, and that's like we generate leads, but we have stuff that we say no to. Like we have high minimums, and we're trying to get ideally a full-time person. That has a big impact on your hiring too, and that's what helped. We've developed a hiring process that really was good, especially post-COVID, because a lot of people had problems. I feel like that was like a big edge for us to figure out how to get new employees when other people were having, we're running, like there was like a labor shortage right after that. So, once we figured that out and developed a really good system, and a lot of our marketing that we do is like we attract a lot of employees to our website. That's a lot of the SEO, the search that we get are people searching for cleaning jobs. So that's helping. And then we have really good recruiters, and all that makes a big difference in trying to get people. But you're still going to have turnover, at a higher rate than what you would really want.
Well, I was about ready to ask what your secret is, but I think you just gave us two of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, using technology, having good recruiters, being able to attract, like the social media has a huge impact on people that want to work for you. They really look at it and they can get an idea of what it's going to look like to work there, and who are the type of people. Are we, we're doing our best to be likable and show what we're all about, and everybody. We really want everybody to take pride in working here. We're really trying to be the absolute best cleaning company you can work for, and if you're striving to do that, you're going to find better people that way.
Well, now, Charlie, I don't know that Buc-ee's is up in Ohio, right?
They got one in Richmond, Kentucky.
He knows exactly where it is.
Yeah, I love Buc-ee's. And I don't know if they broke ground on the one. I think they made an announcement. I think they're moving north. It's just a matter of time.
Well, the reason I say that is because, as I'm listening to you gentlemen talk, I'm thinking, because I like to certify frontline technicians. That's my job here at the Academy.
Sure.
I'm all about certifying those people. And, I sometimes get this, who requires a certification? And I'm thinking, you mentioned Buc-ee's. I don't know that they're a certified person, but would you hire a Buc-ee's restroom cleaner?
Yeah. I just don't know if I could afford them making $26 on a Sunday an hour, but you definitely would want to hire them if that was on the resume for sure.
So see, there's the next challenge, right? Somebody else has set the stone or set the bar higher than where you are.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Especially from a pay scale, right? I mean, when you can't even bid that high, that their hourly rate is, and that's just something you're going to deal with, right? It's just, it's like any of these areas we go and try to, when Amazon shows up and they're like, hey, $200,000 an hour and, unlimited benefits and everything else. You're like, hey, it is what it is. And, it's like, hey, let them get theirs and then, figure it out the rest. But, just what you can control, what you can control, and try to give them the best experience possible, and, let the chips fall where they may.
So so if I would send you a person that's went through my courses and has a certification, and they're in a dollar range that you can afford, would that mean something?
Yeah, 100%. Of course.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we would find more people that had certification and training and experience, because a lot of times you're trying to find a good person that interviews well, that seems to be able to speak well and can communicate and doesn't have, hasn't been job hopping and stuff. And this is really hard because, we're not talking about, highly paid people here. So it's hard to find that. I would say that the vast majority don't have training. So if you have training, right, that would probably, I would assume, Charlie, we'd pay higher and
sure.
That, but we would, your ability to work up is big, because we have a lot of people that start out as cleaners that are like now are supervisors, leads, and stuff like that. And if you come in and do a good job and show what you're doing, you go up. That's what we want. We want to hire within as much as possible.
So I'm hearing possibly people that are staying with you. You said 90% full-time now, Charlie?
I would say roughly, yeah.
And we're not talking about a large amount of turnover. So there's careers here?
Yeah, there is careers here. Yeah, it was actually super. One of our area supervisors was actually just promoted to a regional operations manager, and it felt good, right? I mean, we put a humongous emphasis on acknowledging area supervisors to pick out a RAM teammate of the week, and then obviously our ROMs to pick out an area supervisor of the week, and to continue to collect that data and see who's continuing to be on the forefront, and continue to try to promote those folks and make them obviously know there's a career here and there's a home.
Now, as you say this, I just want to show folks something here, because on the website that they've been talking about, I found this page here, and here is their job description and availability. And of course, the first one I pull up is Florida. So here's 10, 15 jobs open in Florida currently?
Yeah, I think we have last time I heard we had 64 openings or something.
And it says what they are for it looks like Ohio is running you need a lot of help in Ohio. Yeah,
we need a lot of help. Hey, we need a lot of good help everywhere.
Here's the thing I find interesting when we talk about this, folks, is I've been listening to Mr. Rowe talk about how many skilled labor that we need from community colleges that could help us, and how many of these people, and AI is not going to take their job away. I hear you talking some of the same thing here this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a tremendous time to look at the trades. Especially if you're not going into something that's really specialty in college, and that's going to pay an instant ROI when you get out. Why stack yourself with $100,000, $200,000 in debt to strap yourself, to force your way out? So, I think the trades and the service industry is at an all-time high, and that's why I love the trades and I love the service industry, and continue to build these companies out and bet on humans.
I think it would be interesting. I've tried to do this several times over my career, worked with a few community colleges and set up and did a little bit, but we can never get really good traction to get people want to come in and be a janitor or custodian in the trade industry.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the biggest thing, Dave, is that, you have to get where, like we talked about earlier with Buc-ee's is if you get the right partner that's willing to increase their budget enough, so then that's probably the biggest, line in the sand for folks to sit there and compartmentalize, of being a career janitor, if you can back it with the pay and the benefits and everything else that come along with it. Because in our industry, right, it's heavy on price, and a lot of times folks think they care about the quality, but really it's just price. And so if we continue to try to level up and say, hey, are you tired of switching janitorial companies every 6 months? Do you really want to partner? You might have to look at your budget, right? What you've been paying in the past isn't what it doesn't. I have a line when I always say, you have Mercedes-Benz expectations with a Prius budget, and a lot of times people, they want to pick you apart, but it's like, guys, that's because the budget's not here. You're not giving, you can't stretch production rates to 10, 15,000 square feet an hour just because you want to, right? There's been time studies on all this stuff. And again, another one of my sayings is you can't outmath the math. So again, I think as you continue to, collectively in the industry, as we raise the standard and the lens on it, and you continue to be able to, get more in hourly rate for an owner that you can pass on to your employees, and to get more qualified people, it's just, it's just one of those things you just got to keep reaching for.
So I'm thinking that every opportunity is not RamClean's client.
No, actually, I say no more than I say yes.
Yeah, when you get to the point where you grow enough, and you're like, obviously early on with any small business, you're kind of gonna you need the business and you need the experience, and so you're gonna take more things, and sometimes you take the job and then hope that you figure it out later. Sometimes you can take the job and then see if you can't either upsell or raise the price later. Those are all options. But as you grow enough, you really start realizing you want to get your customers that really need you, that appreciate your service, and will be with you for a long, long time. And that's been something we've been doing, and we get better and better at as the years go on.
Do you feel that marketing and selling the idea that Charlie comes up with is going to be more difficult as you grow?
No, actually, I think it's Charlie suggested, it gets easier. I think the hardest point of growing is like the first million. The first million in a business is tough. Oftentimes you're out there if someone doesn't show up and you're picking up a mop. You're trying to figure out how to grow. You're selling. You're doing all of those things.
Oh, yeah.
And then as time goes on, team building then becomes more important. Leadership, brand, I think, all comes more important, because now you're spending more time like being a leader in your business than you are like just being someone to come in and clean when someone shows up. You've got salespeople that can help you sell, people like me that can help you market, people that handle the operations. So
basically what you're saying is you can simplify everything, which makes it seem easier.
Yeah, everybody's also specialized. Like what Charlie said, when he brought me in, like, he was getting advice, but do you really need to hire someone full time just for marketing? Well, I did a lot of stuff. I helped in the HR. I helped in some operations, not much. I hate operations, so I didn't. But I helped in other areas, finance, lots of areas, because I had experience running a business. So that's where. And then when you're smaller, more people are kind of jack of all trades. But then as we've gotten bigger, like I can focus on marketing now, and our sales rep, like I did some sales management in the past and wasn't real good at that, but we have a sales rep that could focus on that, who's really good. And our operations COO is really good. And our director of operation, like just can focus on their areas. So you become specialized. And, you know, as time goes on, I assume that we'll have new people that we bring in, and, you know, probably in 10 years, it'll be a different group of people, but eventually, you know, I do think it actually will get easier to get the next, you know, 15 to 50 million from here.
Hey, I understand specialized guys. I mean, you know, I love being just a teacher and not doing all the other stuff. You know, I can stay focused. I can work so much better. I can't say it's easier. It's just more comfortable that way. Sure. Hey, Rob, before I let you go, where were you born?
Me, I was born in California, Merced, California.
I did not think it was Kentucky.
No. My dad was in the Air Force, so I traveled all over the place until I was a kid. He retired when I was like, I can't remember how old I was, 12 or something. So I lived in Indiana and New York and Nebraska, traveled a lot as a kid, and then I eventually retired, or when my dad retired, he retired right next to his family that had a farm, you know, and here in Champaign County, Illinois. That's where I've been since. I've lived in some other areas, but I've pretty much grew up in central Illinois, and that's where this business started. So maybe that was for a reason.
You just like the snow.
Come again?
I said you just like the snow.
No, I hate it actually. Like, I've really been wanting to get out. I've had some issues that my kids just graduated high school, so I've been trying to get my kids through high school, and just had some other stuff going on. It hasn't been the right time, but now I've got my house, quote unquote, sold. Everything goes through, and I'll be moving to Florida then here soon. So I'll have to come by and see you.
Well, hey, yeah, I got places. You're always welcome. Charlie, say, as you grow over the next part of this, from what Rob said, it's really easy. He likes where he's at right now. I'm sure that bringing new people in is always the way to grow.
Yep. Yeah, we just hired, I don't know, 2 or 3 upper level management, I think, in the last 2 weeks, and we saw the job board always bringing in people all the time, and the Ram family continues to grow and expand, and you know, again, you love the chaos, and it's all good.
Customers' expectations, gentlemen, post-COVID changed, do you think?
I think early on it did, for sure. It presented a lot of opportunity for change, and for us to get tons of at-bats. We saw tremendous growth through those years, obviously, and obviously I think that's, you know, since faded away, and people have tightened up budgets with where the economy is, and who knows when the next disease will come out of China, and we'll be focused on it again. But I think you know, this business is forever, you know, changing on a daily basis, like the stock market. It's always presenting different challenges with labor, and, you know, flu and sickness and cold season, and, you know, who knows what. But, you know, as long as you're adaptable and you're a problem solver, you can figure it out and make it work.
Now, if I remember what you said earlier in the podcast, you're born right there in Ohio.
No, I was born in Champaign, Illinois. I'm in Cincinnati now.
Yeah, no, hey, I mean, you know, just jump across the border, right?
Yeah, that's it. I just jumped across the border in 2018 and haven't looked back.
So, gentlemen, before I let you go here, you're new to our podcast, and I want to ask you another parting question here. Well, 2 of them. Do you have any advice for anybody that might be listening before we end the podcast here, gentlemen?
I would say that, like, in terms of, obviously, I'm focused on growth. In terms of growing, you know, the best advice is to, like, try to develop a system. And I think you start with your website where you can really attract the type of customers you want. Work on getting yourself ranked in search. Always be doing at least something. Depends on how big you are. The bigger you are, the more you can actually either afford to do more marketing, or you have more time. So trying to scale and just do a little bit and stick with it. I think what happens sometimes is with lead generation is people just get stuck, don't see good results, and then they quit, and they never really get to where they expected, because this is a long life cycle, a long sales cycle. Like we just sold somebody the other day that was now almost 40 years old. 4 years ago when they contacted us, they had been through 3 different facilities managers and finally decided to fill out the contract and have us come in, or sign the proposal and have us come in. So you're constantly building up leads that you're selling, and you're not going to go and sell all of them, especially with us where, we need quality and the right type of partnership.
Right.
Sometimes they're not ready. They just think that they just want to use a company that's a little cheaper, or they're just not quite ready to take the next step. They want to see if they can keep cleaning at, half the time that they really should. But then they run through a couple of years of issues, hire the wrong people, constantly deal with problems, and they finally come back to us and say, can you guys provide the solution that you talked about, years ago? So you're developing this funnel of leads and people that are interested, and then constantly following up with them, and eventually you just scale. And then it's great. We're getting recurring business, and as you get more, then you can just keep doing a little bit more.
It's kind of like a farmer. You don't plant it and just get it right away. It's got to cultivate that soil, right?
100%. That's a great analogy.
Charlie?
Yeah, I think especially for this industry, anybody that's wanting to make a career out of it and wanting to build something that's special is just don't quit. I think there's tons of options out there to whatever issues that any problem is manageable and figure outable, right? So I think the biggest thing is just dig your heels in, because this industry will run you ragged. But if you have a clear vision and you have a clear path on where you want to go and you want to head, you just keep putting your head down and keep digging. So best of luck to everybody out there.
My other question for you gentlemen is, what is on your personal, now this is you personally, not the business, you personally, on your personal bucket list that you'd like to get achieved this year yet?
As Charlie said, we're working on another company. So, we're getting to the point where we're looking at trying to be able, both of us, I believe, are pretty good at business and can grow. So we're looking at getting some things started, and really this is all about, trying to get something started, and then getting to the point where we find really good people. We're starting out with some good people, find people, and then be able to, just be business owners that just work on growing the business while we have other people that run it. And of course, we're, that's I guess that's personal, but business too. But I'm trying to just sell my house and move to Florida on personal.
Now, there you go. That's what I wanted. Okay, I'm like, come on, it's hard for a business guy not to talk about something business, but it's like, no, personal, Rob, personal.
This is my hobby. I work on this when I don't have to. I'm not punching the clock. I love doing this, so I'm working on it. So it's it's a little bit, I guess it's kind of on the RamClean. It's not RamClean, but it's like something extra that it's fun. It's fun for me to do that. So
Rob wants to move to the south and get away from the snow. That's what Rob wants to do.
I'm gonna try to do some fishing. I guess that would be something too.
Okay,
so Charlie, what's on your bucket list?
Well, I'm excited for my birthday. I'm going down to Texas to shoot a croc for a crocodile. So that's going to be good to do. But other than that, I want the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl. So, who day?
What? Wait a minute. You're going to Texas for crocodiles?
Yeah. A buddy of mine has got a bunch of extra permits, tags. So, me and my son are going to go down there and shoot one for my birthday. Get a pair of boots and a belt made.
Well, hey, you know what? I'm going to have to get you on a podcast to see if you got that one done.
I'll send you pictures when we get done.
Okay, good enough.
Yep.
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having you both on and learning about RamClean and your journey and successes. It's always good to hear the successes. I mean, we always have the horror stories, right?
Oh, yeah.
Folks, you might ask, why do I ask these questions I do? One is we know where both of these gentlemen were born. We've got a glimpse into their journey of how they've built RamClean together pretty much and what their future looks like going forward somewhat. We also know that they want to do some things personally, move to Florida and go get a crocodile. Wow. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Folks, the reason I ask these questions is we do not know what your journey is. We also just know that whatever that journey is that you're on, make sure that it is healthy, positive, and proactive. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, share. That's how a podcast gets its reach, and we appreciate all those folks that have been downloading so far. Be safe out there, folks. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks for being on the show, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Dave.